Hey everybody, we're going to talk about one of my favorite stocks, one of my largest investments today, MercadoLibre. Before we dive into it, please take a minute and check out the link you see on your screen, fool.com/Frankel. Get the top 10 stocks to buy right now from my sponsor, The Motley Fool. It's the best way to support this work we're doing on YouTube. Again, fool.com/Frankel. All right, so I want to share my screen real quick. First, before we dive in, I think MercadoLibre could be one of the best investments in the market now, even after it's done so well over the past decade or so. Just a couple of stats to show you where the company stands right now. MercadoLibre is best known for its two biggest businesses. Its e-commerce marketplace, which a lot of people call the Amazon of Latin America, and its fintech business, especially the Mercado Pago payments platform, which has kind of similarities to an earlier stage PayPal, in terms that it started out as kind of their in-house payment processor and expanded, and now is just kind of everywhere in its target markets. So just looking at some of the growth numbers, MercadoLibre is still growing at a pretty impressive rate. 28% more items were sold in the third quarter of this year than the year before. Merchandise volume is up 14% year over year. Of course, there's a lot of foreign exchange headwinds when you're talking about markets like Argentina that have very, very high inflation rates. But on the payment side, even FX neutral, merchandise volume up 71% year over year. Payment volume up 73% year over year on an FX neutral basis. The credit portfolio, which I'll get to in a little bit, up 77% year over year. Very, very impressive results so far. Let me just dive right into dive a little deeper into the marketplace business. Merchandise volume. If you look at foreign exchange neutral, Argentina is, I mentioned their hyperinflation is really, really up. But items sold is a better indicator of how things are going throughout the business. And the consolidated numbers throughout the entire ecosystem are all 26 to 29% in the third quarter of this year, 28% year over year growth. Unique active buyers, they've added over 10 million buyers on the platform over the past year. So still growing, despite its big scale, it's still growing pretty fast. On the fintech side, the growth is even more impressive. Monthly active users are up by about 15 million over the past year. Assets under management, because they have an investment platform, that's gone up quite a bit. The credit portfolio I already mentioned is growing up a lot. So MercadoLibre does a few types of credit products. They have a credit card, they have business lending, and it's not like in America. Interest rates are higher. You'll have higher default rates in some of these places. Credit card penetration is not nearly what it is in America. It's not like everybody has 3 or 4 credit cards in their wallet. Everywhere accepts Visa and MasterCard. Not the case in some of these countries. So net interest margins are huge. Even U.S. credit card issuers would be totally happy with like a 10% net interest margin. MercadoLibre's is over 24, and that's even after it's come down a little bit because of more higher a focus on higher asset quality. So even after you see people get scared about the 18% of their portfolio is 15 to 90 days past due, but even after their losses, the net interest margin is enormous. So, different dynamics of their credit business. So let me just share these screens right here, or these slides right here, and why I think MercadoLibre could be a great investment even from here. Number one, the Latin American market is very underpenetrated right now in terms of e-commerce and fintech. Many businesses are still in the early stages. This is within MercadoLibre's ecosystem, and I'll get to these in a minute, and have lots of potential. The stock is down more than 10% from its recent high, mainly because of margin pressure. Not because of growth, just because margins have come under pressure as they invest more in the business. So I'll take these one at a time. Number one, Latin America is a massive market opportunity. There are roughly 650 million people in Latin America. That's roughly twice the size of the United States population. Logistics are also not what they are in the U.S. Logistics, meaning like getting things from one place to another, are rapidly improving. MercadoLibre has a lot to do with that, and that will create a lot more online sellers, people moving their goods from in-person sales to online. They're still in a much earlier stage of that than in the United States. Lots of growth drivers in the early are still in the early stages. I mentioned the core the marketplace and the Mercado Pago business they're still growing rapidly, but they're big. They're big businesses at this point. But these are just two of what MercadoLibre operates. I mentioned the credit card portfolio. The credit card portfolio is up 172% over the past year and helps drive engagement with the ecosystem. So it's not just that it builds the credit portfolio, it also helps kind of just encourages people to engage with different MercadoLibre products. Investment assets under management, I already mentioned that, up 93% year over year. There's an insurance technology part of the platform. It's up, revenue from that's up 36% and it's still in the very early stages. The ads platform is a very interesting one. That's the fastest growing part of the e-commerce business, the marketplace. Mercado ads revenue is up 37%. It's just starting to grow beyond the product ads. That could end up being a huge revenue driver. And the MELI Plus program, which think of as kind of their version of Amazon Prime, introduced a brand new two-tiered pricing structure that could be huge in getting a lot more people to become subscribers. So just to kind of sum it up, MercadoLibre has been one of the biggest investing success stories since it went public. It went public at, I think, about a $10 to $15 stock price. It's currently about $2,000. Been a big success story. eBay tried to outcompete it and eventually gave up and became an investor itself in Brazil and in Argentina and those areas. So very successful story, but it's still a very relatively small company compared to some of its U.S. counterparts. Like it's much smaller than like an Amazon. The fintech business is still a lot smaller than PayPal in terms of its volume and reach. So there's still a lot more room to grow here. I have been a pretty big MercadoLibre investor for some time now. It is one of my top 5 investments. The order changes from time to time, but it's one of my top 5 investments. I don't see that changing anytime soon. I'd love to hear what you think about MercadoLibre. What did I miss? What am I overlooking here? I'll do my best to answer any questions individually as always, and looking forward to hearing from you. I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. The Motley Fool is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. You all know how much I love researching new stocks and trying to find the next best investment. So I'm proud to partner with The Motley Fool to bring you 10 stock picks from the popular product Stock Advisor. Stock Advisor has beaten the market by nearly 5 times. So go to fool.com/Frankel to get your 10 stock picks now. The Motley Fool Stock Advisor returns are 767% as of July 5th, 2024, and are measured against the S&P 500 returns of 163% as of July 5th, 2024.